And now coming to the point of the OBE. What is OBE? See that. I have taken the best definition, and in this definition what is saying, first we need to define the attributes. How many attributes? Those many, that number of attributes it is vary. You can define 4 attributes or 5 attributes or 7 attributes. That means what attributes means PUOs. So we need to predetermine all the attributes, how many attributes you want that. So that is what he is telling. Outcomes after completing academic program. So academic program means here, first I have to predetermine the goal. The goal means what, you know that. So as of now, we have to go ahead with the sequence of vision, mission, PO, and then go ahead with the curriculum. That is what top-down approach. That is what designing process. While designing, we are applying the top-down approach. When we are implementing, we are moving in the bottom-up approach. That is what we are going at. So bottom-up approach means we need to map it from the CO2, PO or CO2 course objectives, and then program objectives, program outcomes, and then POs, and then mission, and then vision. So this is the process of outcome-based education. That is what designing is a top-down approach and implementation is bottom-up approach. This is what we are going to discuss in today's workshop. The desired outcomes are determined first. So what are the things we want, what we need, that we have to determine at initial stage itself. And then you have to determine you have to frame the curriculum also. On the basis of what I have to frame the curriculum? On the basis of program educational objectives and program outcomes. But as of now, what procedure we are following that, maybe partially we are applying these things or maybe full-fledged. So that the curriculum designing is a very, very important on the basis of POs, and POs only we have to frame the curriculum. And once if I frame the curriculum on the basis of that too, then the teaching is also what? When I am framing the curriculum, I should think about my environment, whether could I able to fulfill the requirements for that curriculum or not. What are the resources I have? Without knowing the resources of that, so I could not able to fulfill that. So that the government is also encouraging autonomous system. Why means as per their requirement, as per their resources, they can frame their own syllabus. This is what the Indian government is insisting to go ahead for the autonomous status. So once autonomous if we get, then we can design our own curriculum as per our available resources only. This is what. Teaching and learning methodology and supporting facilities are designed to support the intended outcomes. So what are the facilities are available? What I have been decided, some of the attributes have been defined, whether could I able to achieve or not. For achieving of that, what facilities are required? We have to verify in that. And next point is only for every step we have to maintain some documentation, you see that. So that is what we need to do. For achieving of some goal, we have to define the steps. You see, you take it as an example, when I want to write an algorithm, for algorithm also, what are the steps are required, you know that. All the steps should satisfy some properties are there. Like here also, some common sense is required when I am defining the steps for achieving of my goal. This is what. And here you see that, let us take some examples. A carpenter. A carpenter wants to build a table. He knows how to build a table, but he doesn't know how to maintain the document also. But once if he could maintain the document properly step by step, then that could be better for the next generation people, and that could be carry for the next generation people. That means what? There is a lifelong learning process, that is what. And otherwise, that could be end with them only. So that is what we need to do it. Build a table. He has a picture of table in mind, and then he assembles his materials and the tools. He has materials and tools, and those things what he has to do, he need to make it in a certain order. Once if he can make it in a certain order, then there could be possibility to achieve the goal, whatever the desired in his mind. That is what a table this is. The next example is say that every day we are looking into our home. That is what a mother wants to cook a meal. You see that. I think I heard for 10 years back, Ramar Pillai, he has what about invented some method that without any proof, without any evidence. So that was not succeeded. If it was there some proof, then that also could be succeeded. That is what, without some material has taken and it has been converted into the oil, means for running of vehicles. That was not proved by the documentation, so that it was failed. So if it was there some documentation, that also could be succeeded in the world. So that is what, when we are doing something, for that we have to maintain the document at every level up to reaching the goal. This is the main concept of outcome-based system. You see, an outcome-based approach is as simple as that, but some common sense is required. Let us take one example, a Google search engine. When I am searching something, I am expecting, I want exact information, but I could not able to get it the exact information. It is trying to provide some relevant information. So here also what we need to do when we are trying to mapping from one unit to another unit, we have to apply the relevancy mechanism only. But if you could try to apply the exact mechanism, then there could not be possible to find the solution. That is what you see that when I am trying to mapping from PO to PO. That means what? On the basis of relevancy only. You need to try to understand the PO and also you need to try to understand the PO. Then what is the semantic of first one and second one? Then you try to how much relevancy is there. On the basis of relevancy, you need to give the right grading also. On the basis of relevancy, you have to give the grading. That grading is what? Either excellent or good or satisfactory or any other grading. You can define yourself. That is what you see that. When I am getting the information, what I am expecting from the Google search engine, I will say what? The Google is the best among the several search engines. Like you see, this is what. Here we need to use the common sense. So there is no unique solution, sir, no doubt about it. You can define your own POs. You can define your own POs. But you try to map it with respect to the curriculum. That is what we need to do. That we'll get it very clearly. And why OBE? Indian education system has already headed towards outcome-based education. I think now NBA, you know that you are all aware of that. National Board of Accreditation. And other one is there, NAC. And other boards also there, international boards. ABET is there, Accreditation, Engineering and Technology. So these are the bodies for accrediting the course by the assessment. Without assessment, we could not able to get the accreditation. So that is what Indian education system now is moving into towards the OBE system. OBE means what? Why you have to go for the OBE? So that is what we are discussing here. Nationally, this is mainly for the national recognition only. When your course has been accredited by NBA, that means you are getting recognition national level. When your course is accredited by Washington Accord, that means you are going to get recognition at international level. What are the advantages with that recognition, you tell me? So what about advantages of that means? When our students will go to the other country, then what we are doing right now, they have to write the GRE or TOEFL or other kind of examinations. Those kinds of examinations, I have to remove it. How do I remove it? Once if I get the recognition at international level, then it could be possible to avoid such kind of examination system. Then our students also can go and do the things there outside India without any further examination system. Further, we have to go for the international accreditation. You see now how many students are writing GRE or TOEFL every year. You see that we can avoid it or minimize it at least. We can try to minimize it. For the sake of that, we need to go for the accreditation. It is important for the understanding of qualifications. So why should I? That means once if I have a recognition at the international elements, so we are following international society rules and regulations. That means equality, equal rules and regulations we also implementing. When we are implementing equal rules and regulations apart from with other countries, that means what? They are treating us, they are also equivalent to us. So that why we need to conduct again further examination, they may decide like that. So for the sake of that, we need to go ahead. For the example by learners and employers, you see this. And with the local accreditation body heavily focusing on adoption of OBE approach for all engineering programs in India, you see that. This NBA has been made it as a mandatory. From the current academic year, whoever is adapted that OBE system, they can get very good ranking. Not only NBA, you see that even NAC also looking in this direction. Even UGC also, I think recently you might be seen in the newspaper, that is what RUSA. RUSA has been approved by the Parliament of India. That is mainly for what? For focusing on the quality education only. The Indian government has been allocated 98,000 rupees for the coming 5 years. Sorry, for the coming 1 year only. 98,000 for India. That means what? Only for the improvement. What kind of improvement? Faculty qualification and student employability skills and research activities, etc., etc. And again, they are forming different bodies at nationwide. Once they frame all these things, then we also should follow OBE. Otherwise, we could not able to get any research funding or any other kind of funding also. So that we also to think in this direction. This is what. With the local accreditation body, National Board of Accreditation, heavily focusing on the adoption of OBE approach for all engineering programs in India. So from this year, they have designed 2 criteria. One is a Tier 1, other one is a Tier 2. That is purely on the basis of outcome-based education only. So that it is very important in future. You see, why need accreditation? A person with accredited engineering degree may be able to work for the government as a private sector. So this is what once if you have been studied in accredited department, that means the other third party can assess you, oh, he is having some kind of capabilities for entry level. After that, he can assess him once the work has been completed. He or she may be subsequently become a professional engineer. So that means once if he studied in the accredited institute, then the third party may treat him as a professional engineer. So that always we need to concentrate much on the third party and employers also. Why need accreditation? You see that. This is mainly for the international mobility only. So already I have been given some information. For the purpose of international mobility, for moving student from one country to another country, if the student wants to move from our country to another country, there is no flexibility for that system. But right now we have some of the systems. What the system? Collaboration system only here 3.5 years, there 1.5 year. What is that? Again, there is some rules and regulations are there. Those things we have to try to avoid it. Once if we could go ahead as a full membership in the Washington Accord, then those things can be avoidable. Otherwise, always we have to go ahead with the collaboration system only. Why we have to encourage the collaboration system always? By the collaboration system, what we are getting? We are losing a lot of things. When we are also member in the international accreditation body, then these things can be avoidable. Lot of funding also we can extract from outside country also. That is what main advantage of this international mobility. The Washington Accord, this is one association. The agreement that establishes equivalence of other countries' accredited professional engineering programs. This is one body. This is giving the membership to countries as a provisional membership or full membership. On what basis it is giving the membership means? On the basis of evaluation. I think 2 years back, they have chosen 5 engineering colleges in India. Topmost engineering colleges, I think. One is IIT, one is a private college, maybe private university, and other one is IIT, other one NIT. But when they evaluated all these colleges, there was no, what about minimum criteria also we have not achieved as per their evaluation system. Minimum criteria means 750 marks we have not achieved. So that we didn't get 5 years accreditation. So what we got? Finally 2 years accreditation. So that the Washington Accord also has given to us provisional membership only. This was happened 2 years back. This was taken seriously by the Kapil Sibal in the year of 2011, I think, or 12, I think, I forget it that year. So he has taken very seriously. He has chosen the colleges. He has given the chance to them. And then after evaluation, we got only 2 years accreditation for those colleges. So that they have given to us, what about? Provisional membership only. So like that, they have been introduced to the NBA system also. Now you see that 2 years member accreditation is there, 5 years accreditation is there. 2 years means what? Provisional membership for us also. And 5 years is little bit better than 2 years. Accredited engineering graduates are recognized by other signatory countries. Possible employment as engineers in those countries without further exams. That's what already we discussed. It was established in the year of 1989, which is the Washington Accord. of 2007, the following countries are full members of. You see that, what are the listed countries are there? All those countries are full members. So that means once if we study in the Hong Kong, the degree valid in those countries, what the list I have shown in that. That means there is a mobility possibility. That means one country to another country, they can move. Like what we are doing, applying here, when we are applied to JNTU Hyderabad, once the student is studying some GRIT, and he can move to the VNR also. That mobility is there within the university. But we don't have such kind of mobility from country to country. How to achieve that? By introducing this kind of reforms only. Then there could be possibility to get a international mobility. As of now, we have a JNTUH mobility or JNTUA mobility or K mobility only. But even university to university also we don't have such kind of mobility. So because of this, we are always suffering with this. And provisional memberships of the Washington Accord and may become a full member in the future. So you see that our countries in the provisional membership, how many countries are there? Germany, India, Russia, Malaysia, Sri Lanka. But Malaysia may be going to get next year only for the full membership. They are doing a lot of exercises. I think they may get a chance to get a full membership in a Washington Accord in the next year, I think. So that now we got the importance of accreditation. Why we have to go for the accreditation? Once we have accreditation, then what? There are a lot of advantages are there for our next generation children. So let us see now. Why need OBE? Programs to be accredited from 2013 will have to be based on OBE approach only. So if no OBE, no accreditation. So this is what final conclusion statement. No OBE, no accreditation. So this is having this much of importance. You think, maybe some of the people have been commented on this also when I was interacting with experts in the OSA conference. Why we need to go for the accreditation? Why we should follow their rules? Why we are not adapting our own rules? When we adapt our own rules, then we will be in the localized only. When we will be the national wide or international wide. So that we try to interact with the international organizations, then what the things they are doing, we have to extract those things, and also we have to suggest our things also, then integrate, then we also can get something. This is what we need to do as of this. So next, at present, traditional education, you see that. What the traditional education is there? It is a content oriented only. You see, when the principal or maybe HOD interacting with the faculty, what first question he is raising? How much syllabus covered? Rather than asking many questions. It is a content oriented only. So that is what? We have to change that system. Then there could be possibility to achieve the full membership. Different degrees have their associated syllabi. No interdisciplinary, no multidisciplinary. Why? It is a single domain. Why should I go? Now the world is moving in a multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary. You see that without medical, we can't live. Without system, can you operate the human body? Then it could be difficult. So interdisciplinary is very, very important. But our people has to encourage the interdisciplinary system. Then only we also can, what about meet with the international level people. And relevant contents are taught and examined. What the teacher is looking generally, as for the university or maybe as for the college syllabus, they are taking the classes and deliver the lecture as per the syllabus, and then they are testing by conducting examination. Even in that examination also you see that there are many loopholes are there, no doubt about it. The paper setting is also not a good. When I attended one conference or one workshop in NITTR Chennai, there they have given a lot of information about the paper setting is also. What the question we are asking is that explain some verb. What I have to explain? Advantages, disadvantages, define, limitations, procedure, or any other kind of information you tell me. So that is what non-constructive questioning that has to change now. Otherwise we could not achieve our goal. So what we need to do? We need to adapt the constructive questioning system. A constructive means what? Define how it is, like verbs, see how to use it. then there could be possibility to improve the quality of student. This is what we need to do. So next, in the traditional approach to teaching, the professor lecturers, I am not commenting anybody, please present a system only I am discussing, sorry for that. Approach to teaching, the professor lectures and assigns well-defined convergent single discipline problems only. You see that we are always discussing in the classroom single discipline problems only. We are not focusing on multidiscipline problems. We are not testing also. We are completing then going out. And students listen. What the procedure right now we see that. Just listening. Who is listening? The student. And taken notes. That also I think now we are not giving that much. And the next one is solve problems individually. This is what happening in the current education system. By these three parameters, can we meet international level people? Is it possible? I think it is difficult to reach their level, so that we need to change our system. That means by adapting OBE, can we achieve that? So you see that here again it is repeating. The teachers focus on covering the content, giving much less thought to the learning by the student and teaching methodology. How much syllabus we covered, that is not important. How much we are given and how they are able to understand, how they are able to do it, that is very important. Whether they are able to do it, that is very important, rather than teaching also sometimes. Once if they can do it, then that means we taught, no doubt about it. So when they are unable to do it, that means we have not taken any class also. So this is what things are required. So I'll give one example. When I was in Gen, no one is getting minimum marks. Because of what? Student just listening and going outside, then what he is saying? This master is excellent. So then he is saying like that, then finally he is neglecting the subject. Because of he doesn't have any practice on that subject. Because of he is receiving in well manner, but he is not able to understanding that. Only receiving, only good. So that is what we have to think. The content-driven approach to teaching has been referred to as a teacher-centered approach. This is what, now what system we have? This is what? A teacher-centered approach. Now we have to move into the direction of the student-centered approach only. So now we are in teacher-centered approach. That has to remove, and then we have to move in the student-centered approach. You see, instructional objectives and learning outcomes are not comprehensively planned and informed to students. You see that. Whatever, you see that just we are writing lesson plan and topic to be covered. What topics we have covered? That two columns we are maintaining now. So what we need to do? We have to write objectives and outcomes also. Once if you complete this course, what you are going to get, that also we have to say. Otherwise, no use of that. You see, when I interacted with several students, when I am asking the question, what are the objectives of data structure, they are unable to express. Because of, we should follow that first. Then automatically, they also can answer. Student involvement is very low level. You see, any activity, anything, student involvement is very low. Even if you are conducting one conference or maybe national level technical symposium, if it is organizing by student community only, but faculty is mainly what about playing the key role. But that is not correct. We have to leave them. They have to do themselves. So that is what we have to entertain them. We have to adapt such kind of environment in our system. Stress on lower order thinking skills. So we are focusing mainly lower order skills. Lower order means just to store, to reproduce. To store, reproduce. Like a repeater in the computer networks. We have to move in another way. That is what. Student assessment is not aligned to program outcomes. We don't have any program outcomes. How to assess the student? Whether he is achieving the college goal or not. That is what we have to do. In that aspect, we have to define several things. The principal question is say that asked of the engineering graduate at the time of recruitment is no longer what courses did you study, obtain your degree, but rather what can you do now that you have obtained your degree. What the industry is looking immediate process. That is what we have to provide to the industry. So by introducing this system, we can achieve that also. You see, thinking skills are there. They are divided into 6 levels. First 3 are low order thinking skills, and the next 3 are high order thinking skills. So now you see that now we have in traditional system these 3 are perfectly implementing, but the next 3 not there. This is what we need to concentrate much. For the achieving of the last top 3, we have to adapt the outcome based education system. Then only it could be possible to achieve the goal of the institute. So what each one you see that. You say knowledge means just remembering, store, and he is able to understanding and he is able to apply, but he doesn't have the analysis. Let us take one example. When I am asking the student how many sorting techniques are there, simply they are saying 5 techniques are there. If I given the input data, then simply what kind of sorting technique we are going to apply means any sorting technique he is applying. But that is not the correct. What we need to do, we have to compare all the sorting techniques, which is the best sorting technique for the given input data. That is what we need to discuss with the student. How they use, how they apply any technique to any kind of data. That is not correct. We should try to find appropriate sorting technique for the given data set. This is what lacking. This we have to focus much in this. And evaluating also. Next, synthesis we will discuss each and every one. You see, each higher level skill automatically involves the lower level skills. Usually undergraduate education deals almost exclusively with remembering, understanding and applying. So UG course, we are mainly focusing, even you see that in the private or wherever you see that, mainly focusing on these 3 parameters only. What are the 3 parameters? One is, you see this, remembering, and other one is understanding, applying. He can apply only for that kind of problem only, but once if you change the problem that they could not able to apply. So that what we need to do, we need to change the pattern of examination system only. Where we have to change in the examination system, we should try to make the paper setting in the constructive manner rather than non-constructive manner. This is what we need to do. Next, ideally, all Bloom levels should be addressed in every course. Need not be sequential, but all this what we have discussed in the previous slide, those are not sequential. Level 1, you see that. A knowledge may be defined as the ability to recall means remembering facts without necessarily understanding them. Some of the students, they are by-hearting program also. How many lines are there and what is the first line and last line. This is what example for the knowledge this we are having right now. So what we need to do, we need to change that. How to? Comprehension, you see that, may be defined as the ability to understand and interpret learned information. Sometimes they are unable to interpret the data also. What they have seen in the textbook, the same thing reproducing on the examination paper, that's what we need to change it. They have to interpret. They have to write it by their own wordings. This is what we need. Lack of this, why Indian authors are not there much more than other country authors? Because of the interpretation problems only. When we have interpretation skill set, then we also can write many more books. This is the major drawback in the current education system. This we need to change by the help of OBE. And application. Application may be defined as the ability to use learned material in new and concrete situations. Put ideas and concepts to work in solving problems. They have an idea, but they are able to one-to-one ideas only, but not one-to-many ideas. Once if they know the one technique, how to apply the same technique for many situations. That is what very important. This is what we need to adapt. And analysis. Analysis means what I have given earlier one example, how to analyze different techniques, and I have to choose among the n number of techniques which is the best relevant technique for given specific data. This is what we need to do. And synthesis may be defined as the ability to put parts together to form a new whole. You see that. You can divide and then you can solve independently and then you can put it as a whole. That concept we need to adapt in the student. Once this problem task is very big, then what they are saying, sir, I am not able to do it. This is what evaluation is. See that may be defined as the ability to judge the value of material for a given purpose. It is one kind of judgment process for the given material. So that what we need to do when we are going for the action, we have to maintain a lot of material. Otherwise, how do I judge whether this is what about quality there or not? The judgments are to be based on defined criteria. We have to define some criteria for making a material. You can define your own criteria also. There is no unique criteria. Suppose if I want to assess one student project report, you can design your own criteria. What criteria means? First, whether the problem statement is relevant to the title, or next point, whether this is relevant to the title, the content, and the next one is whether the content has been framed in the proper manner, whether the content is in the logical flow or not, whether the content is what about affecting or not for the result. This is what. So these things we need to concentrate much on that. On the basis of that, you can define your own criteria. And then when I am evaluating the student project, I should write the strengths also. But what we are doing, simply we are giving the marks. That is not correct. What we have to do, we have to highlight the strengths. At the same time, what are the weaknesses are there in the current project, in their project. That is very important rather than highlighting the strengths. You see that. We should try to highlight the weaknesses in the current. That is very important. Next, these may be internal criteria or external criteria, and the individual may determine the criteria or be given them. You see that. So he can make it. I can invite the people outside for assessment or evaluation, or he can do yourself also. There are two things are there, either internal or external. That is your choice sometimes. But when you are affiliating, then the outside people are coming and evaluating generally. Why OBE? Deficiencies of traditional. You see that. Students are given grades and rankings compared to each other. Students become exam oriented. Now you see that even intermediate corporate colleges, completely exam oriented only. Nothing is there, just only 2 levels there. They have been implementing only 2 levels in the lower order thinking skills also, but not third one. So that is also one drawback is there. We have to change the system in the intermediate level also. Then only it could be possible to achieve at the higher level. That is, otherwise it could be difficult process. Next, graduates are not completely prepared for the workforce. Whoever is getting degree, they are not able to perform well once they get opportunity in organization. This is the major weakness. And lack of emphasis on the soft skills needed. We are forcing them. You learn, you speak, you have to communicate, you have to interact with. These are the things we are forcing them. But for this purpose, we have been introduced one subject, that is what communication skills. But that is not enough. What we need to do, as per my suggestion, that we have to introduce the one mini project at every semester. When I have gone through the foreign syllabus, what they are doing, So what we are doing labs means we are making separate lab, data structure, Java program. That is not correct. What we are studying in that semester, all the subjects, whatever the methods we are studying in those subjects, those methods we have to implement by using any one kind of technology only. Then only we can achieve this. Otherwise, it could be difficult. That means what? In a specific domain we are concentrating. What we need to do, whatever the subjects are there, mathematics, discrete mathematics is there, OR is there, OS is there, and DBMS is there, and other 2 subjects might be there. But what we are doing, 2 labs we are introducing. One is the DBMS, OS. What about discrete structures and other 2 subjects? Where we are working for that? We are not working for that. Just we are theoretically learning, and that means what? Without understanding, we are writing the examination. So when you do the practically, then you can understand. That is what we need to do it in this system. Next, there also you can end this. Example, deficiencies of, I think, communication skills. This is now we are mostly we achieve, but remaining skill sets, you see that interpersonal skills, analytical skills, working attitude, human relationship skills. These are very weak in the system. Human relationship, working attitude also. This is very important, sir. You see, why OBE? Exam result is not the most important consideration by employer. Employer is not giving the much importance to the examination pattern system. he is giving, I think, not more than 3.68 weightage in 100. So you see that what is our system? We have to, you can see here what the employer is looking. You see, what is the GPA? You see that? What is the weightage? Is there only 3.68 weightage. What about other components? You see that? We are forgetting all these things. Just simply we are focusing much more on this component only. What about other components? You see, one is the communication, either verbal or written, honesty, integrity, and interpersonal skills, motivation, flexibility, analytical skills, computer skills, organizational, detail-oriented, leadership skills, self-confidence, friendly, outgoing personality, well-mannered, tactfulness, and this is what marks, and creativity, sense of humor, and risk factor. You see this. How do we achieve all this? By introducing OBE system, we can achieve. This is what. So there is a less importance for the examination system as per the employer survey. This is employer survey information as per the survey I have been pasted here. So that I think now why we have to go for the OBE. So by looking this slide, we can, I think, take a little decision about that. Shall we go or not for the OBE? That is what I think. As for this data, we have to go ahead with OBE only. Then there could be possibility to sustain, to improve the quality of education in the India. This is so that in that aspect, for the improvement of the quality education, I think in yesterday newspaper, one news has come, that is what they are going to establish international training center at Kakinada. It is a sponsoring by Government of India, MHRD. This is what, okay, by taking this survey. So expectations on students under OBE, the outcomes, you see that students are expected to be able to do more challenging tasks other than memorize and reproduce what was taught. You see, when I am interacting with the students, so I am putting one question in front of them, why don't you do this own task? Then what they are saying immediately, sir, this is very tough job, I could not able to do, shall I change my project? This is what we are entertaining them. When we are entertaining them, then what they are doing? They are keep on changing their project. When they are keep on changing their project, that is carrying to the next generation also. That means what? The quality will be sustaining? No, the quality will be decreasing. So we should try to maintain at least what we have right now. That is what. It is in our hands only. As a faculty community, this is what. Students should be able to write a project proposals, complete projects, analyze case studies, give case presentations, show their abilities to think, question, research, and make decisions based on the findings. You see that. These are, we are neglecting. They are not able to write. They are buying and submitting. This concept is there. Even they are not applying, remembering, and reproducing nowadays. How do we achieve? By introducing OBE, there are several rubrics are there, mechanisms are there. Once if we go through all those mechanisms, I think at least we can minimize 50%, no doubt about it. Once if we adapt OBE system, there is a possibility to minimize the current, no doubt. So next, expectations on students under the OBE, the outcomes. Be more creative, able to analyze and synthesize information. So this is what about very important for the student. The employer is looking this kind of people only. Able to plan and organize the tasks, able to work in a team as a community to propose solutions to problems and market their solutions. You see that we can market our solutions also, but how many students are doing in universities or maybe in a private colleges or anywhere? You see that in America, then what they are doing, the student is able to developing such a kind of pattern. What about some software? Then they are marketing their software by themselves only. That attitude is not there in India. You see nowhere. Red bus is there, you know that. When they go out from the organization institute, they started their own organization, then they have been marketed their product. Now that is a 2,000 crores, what about company? Only just with website. Not to purchase the land and what about hold it and sell it. That is not enough nowadays. With the website also we can earn much more than by buying the land and holding and selling. Only with the website. This is what you see that. So that kind of environment we have to create in education. The OBE is suggesting like that. So this is what. So this is a traditional education process. You see that we are focusing mainly teaching, curriculum, labs, and whatever the available resources are there. We are not going beyond the resources, available resources. And then teaching, learning, and students at graduate. You see that in the bottom line here, majorly we are focusing only these components only. Assessment mainly what? Via exam. Either it could be internal exam or external exam. And exam. And next test, assignments. Even you see that when they are writing the assignment, then what we are doing? Whether he has submitted or not, just we are taking that information and then we are giving the marks. How to improve the quality? What we need to do? We have to design some pro forma for evaluating of assignment also. What kind of pro forma I have to design? What I have given the problem, whether it is relevant to that or not. First you have to check. That is it. That means checklist. You have to follow the checklist. Once if you follow the checklist, then what next step? Content is relevant to that or not. One content is relevant to that. Then again I have to check whether the content is having the logical flow or not. These are the parameters like that. You can define as many as you wish. Once if you evaluate in such a manner, then every student will follow that kind of fashion. Once if they follow such kind of fashion, then the quality automatically will come out. No need to force them, no need to ask them. Simply you apply your own criteria for evaluating. There is no any standard criteria. Every faculty can design their own format. That's enough. But minimum 5 to 7 components are required in that criteria. You select those components are primary components. You can divide as many as maybe 20 also you can take it. But that it is difficult as per our restricted rules and regulations, so that you have to define minimum 5 to 7, I think better. Then there could be possibility to achieve the assignment. I have not verified any, I have visited several colleges, they were not seeing also at least the assignment. Then how to achieve? They may be having different kinds of problems, no doubt. That also we have to accept sometimes. And quality control from teaching evaluation. You see that quality control is there. Just what teaching evaluation is, just we are asking whether you submitted marks or not. Who is testing? How they have been evaluated? No system. Because of that, we are unable to sustain. We are trying to, what about going down? What about always moving in the downward only? So with those skill set, he is getting the degree. So this is not sufficient for the industry. So that what we require is, see this in the next slide. This is what OBE system. OBE system. OBE shifts from measuring input and process to include measuring the output. What we have right now, the system is input model. Input model system. Whether I am giving input or not, that's all. Simply I am giving the input, then I am going out. We are not assessing, we are not evaluating also properly. So that the OBE is relevant to what? Output model system. So this is what output is. The first 3 are common, and the next is see that what they have been defined. They have been introduced one more component, that is what? Program educational objectives. But we have an objective in the vision and mission, but we don't have any separate as a separate component. That's what they did. They have been divided as many as subcomponents only. Already we have a 2 components, but those components they have been divided into several components only. That is what program educational objectives, and other component is what program outcomes, and other component is course outcomes. These are the things have been adapted in this system. This is what. So now you see that graduates to fulfill stakeholder satisfaction. How to define that we will discuss later on very clearly. Defining of program educational objectives. You see that what the system we need to apply in the OBE. Assessment by exam, test and assignments. I think this we have seen in the previous also. And assessment of teaching staff. You see that we have a self-appraisal form only. But where is the assessment of the teacher? And then lecture material. Who is monitoring the lecture material? No one is looking into that. Just what the file is there, just we are keeping there, then we are going. And then what flow is there? And results and student capabilities, short and long term outcomes, you see that. Whether he is meeting with vision and mission or not. How many of us concentrating in that? How many of us know that vision and mission at least? I think more than 50%. When I was in JNTUH, I also don't know. When I was, applied for the accreditation, then I was realized, vision and mission is also very important for the institution. So this is what I see that. Next, a lab interview, exit surveys, you see that. More thinking projects with analysis, feedback from industry, alumni and other stakeholders. Clear continuous improvement step, you see that. How many alumni associations, how many are maintaining the alumni association? No one, I think. So what is the importance of alumni association? You see that when I visited the IIT Bombay, then they were conducting that time alumni association. When they were conducting alumni association, one student has raised his hand and then he was sponsored more than 10 crores of money for constructing a building. You see now one building is there in the center. I have been attended several conferences, several workshops, several seminars, several places. Because of that I have been prepared this content. Otherwise it could be very difficult to me. It could be possible by the internet, but not that much effective and efficient way. Still it is I have it. I need to do some more improvement on this content. Still I am not that much happy with this content. So next you see that here stakeholders are there. Stakeholders means employers and industry advisors, academic staff, public and parents, students, alumni. You see, all these meetings are very, very important. You can conduct either yearly or twice in a year or once in 2 years also, some of the bodies. So that we'll discuss how to assess this. Okay. So focus and benefits of OBE. Why I have to focus? What are the benefits of OBE? The key questions is see that. What do we want the students to have or be able to do? This is the primary key here. And how can we best help students achieve it? What procedure we need to apply for achieving the goal, the vision? This is what. How will we know whether the students have achieved it? How do we know that whether they achieved or not? By taking the information past 5 years only. Then only it could be possible to evaluate or assess it. And how do we close the loop for further improvement? That means continuous quality improvement. So we need to go further. How to improve the means that quality means by taking the feedback from different sources only. That means from different stakeholders. Benefits of OBE, you see that. More directed and coherent curriculum. By the OBE means when you are interacting with the different kinds of bodies, then you can focus on the designing of curriculum by more directly or with correlation. Graduates will be more relevant to industry and other stakeholders. That means what? When I interact with different kinds of stakeholders, then what? I could able to make them more relevant to the industry. This is what we can do it. And continuous quality improvement is in place. By adapting all this, then this also can achieve. You see OBE. Now OBE starts. OBE starts with 3 components. OBE starts with 3 components only. What are the 3 components means? One is a PEO. PEO means Program Educational Objectives. And the next one is Program Outcomes. And the third one is Course Outcomes. And third one is Course Outcomes. These are the 3 components, sir. It starts with these 3 components. The OBE approach starts with defining majorly three components. One is PEO and PO, CO, that we will discuss in the next session after formal inauguration of workshop. And this will be, I think there are some good examples also I have prepared content. Then by that you can easy to understand how to define, how to map it, how to correlate also. These are the things, sir. Thank you. For only 10 to 15 minutes only inauguration. After that there will be tea break, and then again we will join. We will complete.